Director of IIHM New Delhi, to take the session forward. Over to you, sir.
Hello, everybody. Good evening. Bear with me for a second. Slight error in my camera, as they say that there's always an error at the right time when it comes to technology. Just bear with me for a second, and there we go. All right, I'm back, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening. And it's an absolute pleasure to welcome you today in our initiative of SAHAS. SAHAS is a commitment, as Dr. Bose says, as IIHM says. And to all the students who've joined in, this is an initiative by IIHM to promote entrepreneurship, to promote that passion to start your own business, to look and become job creators rather than job seekers. It comes out of passion, and that's exactly what we are trying to say to all the current batches who are studying in IIHM, and of course to the current batch 2020 that is ready to join the industry. We all know today the entire world is going through a huge pandemic, and this batch of 2020 is at the receiving end around the world, whether it is IITs, whether it is IIM, whether it is any batch graduating from any college in the world, be it Oxford, be it Cornell, be it Cambridge, be it IIHM. Everywhere the question is what we are going to do. Of course, this pandemic is a passing phase, ladies and gentlemen, and is not here to stay. Mankind will pick up, and I've always been saying that it is a passing phase. It will go away. But yes, we need to make sure that we are always focused, and we are always making sure that we kind of keep running towards a focused goal. And that's the reason we've said and we've decided, IIHM as an organization, as a college, that we will keep ourselves focused and we will keep moving no matter what, no matter where, but we should keep walking. As they say, Johnny Walkers keep walking, you know. So that is where we derive this from. And before I go forward, I would like to invite the brainchild behind this initiative of SAHAS, the man who initiated this, the man who's always at the top, at the helm of affairs, deciding and making sure that we are keeping in stride with what the industry needs or what is the need of the hour. May I invite Dr. Bose, Chairman and CEO, IIHM, to inaugurate this session. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, very good afternoon to all of you. Lovely to be back again with my colleagues in Delhi. I could see all my friends there, Mr. Kapoor, Mr. Mohan, all dear friends, and others I can't see, of course, in my cameras, but lovely to be here. And as you said, actually, SAHAS is not a statement. It is a dream that we all dreamt together in IIHM. And this is a dream that we have to execute. This is basically a huge commitment from all of us at IIHM to impart and calculate the spirit of entrepreneurship among the students. Hospitality students, like over the last 20 years, has more or less have really gone for the jobs. Like even when you see the colleges, private or government, they always say, well, we provide job placement. But then what we have come out is that it's not just about job. We need to also provide the SAHAS placement, which is that we are trying to inculcate that the education, the mentoring, the guidance of the entrepreneurship. A lot of our young students have done fantastically well in being in the entrepreneurship. Some of them are running their restaurant. One of my alumni in Hong Kong is running as many as 35 restaurants. His name is Sandip Patel, including a couple of Gordon Ramsay's franchisee. There are hundreds of examples. But what we are trying to do now is to very straightforwardly talking that we have got two options. That you want to become an entrepreneur, you have got an idea, and we are here to mentor you, to guide you, to hold your hand, and to make sure that you are in the right direction, you go in the right strategy, right, whether the idea been translated into business plan or whether the financing is required. We also have got a seed financing of around 25 crores right now. We have started with a small corpus of 1 crore, but we are pushing you to 25 crore already. And I'm very happy to say one of the banks already have given us very soft loan of 6 crore towards the SAHAS fund. So I think within 2 months from now, we would ramp up this figure to 25 crore, where we have also getting a lot of commitment from our alumni who are coming and donating to this endowment. And that is a great news, actually. Alumni coming forward and putting money for the SAHAS endowment fund, so that this fund can go for the seed money for financing the startups that IIHM Student can start. I think it's a passion-driven initiative. Entrepreneurship has never been easy. Let me say once again, I told this in the launch of the SAHAS in Delhi, but then entrepreneurship is something we all know. It's a journey from pillar to pillar to pillar. I'll put it this way: a pillar of failure to another pillar of failure to yet another pillar of failure, until and unless you see the first ray of success. So as we say, it's all about guts, grit, grime, and then glory. So these are big words possibly, but for our students, we need to really motivate them to dream big. At the same time, dream realistically. We are here as more like a traffic lights to make sure that they do not really alter or falter in their path, in their journey. And I'd like to thank all our friends in the advisory council all over India. We have got this 10 SAHAS camps, if you like, of our 10 campuses. And what a great delight to have the industry veterans and stalwarts to come and join this initiative, because this is what is going to change the ecosystem of the hospitality professionals. And we need a lot of young people, a lot of young professionals to come and do something of their own, going by the Prime Minister's call for a self-reliant India, for an Atmanirbhar Bharat. I think what we need to do is to create a huge band of youngsters who can actually do something mini, micro, macro, but something of their own, and not only just send CVs after CVs and work for the hotels. Of course, that is one part always there, but we want to really push this initiative in all the 10 campuses of IIHM, so that we, in the next 5 years, create a few thousand of the young hospitality entrepreneurs in India, and not just one Ritesh Agarwal or a couple of Dipender Goel, but many of them who will come and do very small business to possibly medium business, and this would be the people who the entire hospitality industry will look up to. So it's like obviously a lot of hard work, a lot of infectious enthusiasm to succeed, a lot of focus, a lot of grit, as I say, and a lot of courage. SAHAS is courage, because when you are in the journey of as an entrepreneur, I have been there for 32 years now almost. I know that at every day possibly you are doing firefighting, whatever big you are creating new brands, you are creating new business, and you are also doing a lot of things together which are not really what you do when you work for somebody. So it's not an 8 hours, 12 hours, 15 hours. It's a 24 hours job, and it's hard work. It's very hard work. And also it's a very lonely world. If you become an entrepreneur, it can be very lonely at times, where people really may not really support you at times. And that's exactly the reason why IIHM want to hold hand for the students of IIHM through the mentorship, through the guidance, through the ideas penetration, and through our fantastic experienced board of advisor. And also, as and when required, and appropriate will be funding with the seed money, which at times, like now, becomes very difficult. You won't get money now either from the banks or from the PE or the venture capital. So we would be pitching in some kind of initial seed money to make sure that you can kickstart and you don't falter in your dream project. So in a lot of way, SAHAS is a dream that we all saw together, and SAHAS is the biggest commitment that IIHM had made till it was born 27 years back. So I think it's a great commitment of all of us to all our students, present and past as well, if they come back to us. And I'm so thankful to my friends in the industry who have volunteered to become the advisors. And also I'm grateful to the alumni who are coming in and pitching in the endowment fund and in our quest to make it into a 25 crore fund in the next 8 weeks to 10 weeks. It's quite a challenging world, and I'm sure that together at IIHM we'll make it succeed and we'll make it happen, because an idea is great, but what's important is when you convert, when you translate the idea into implementation, into execution, when the idea sees the product. As one of my mentors told me about 25 years back, that an idea is a business when it is converted into an invoice. So idea converted into an invoice is what business is all about. And that's exactly what we tell our students. An idea converted into an invoice is what the business is all about. You can have a million ideas, but it doesn't make any sense if it is not implemented, executed, and converted into revenue and invoices. And it really takes a lot of guts, grit, grime before you get a glory. And that is what SAHAS is all about. SAHAS is passion, SAHAS is commitment, SAHAS is courage. And we at IIHM are committed to our dare to do mission. And I'm sure that we will succeed in this. And thank all our faculty member, all our member of the team, and a very big thank you to all the board member, advisory council member, and all the speakers who have come together as well for supporting SAHAS, because we need a lot of your support. Thank you very much for being with us this evening. Over to Abdullah. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Bose. And as he said, an idea is actually an invoice. And with this, we start our program, ladies and gentlemen. Before we go, we've got a small video from Mr. Sandip Patel, IBM Managing Director, South Asia and India. Let's see what he has to say.
I commend the IIHM SAHAS initiative. The fact is, you have the opportunity to shape the world like never before. Dream big, my young friends. Think with an entrepreneurial mindset. Leverage the power of technology to solve and scale. Have a growth mindset and pivot. Pivot to growth, pivot to new ideas, pivot to new business models, pivot to new ways of doing things that the world is now enabling you to do today. As a part of IBM's ongoing engagement with the Government of India, targeting young innovators through the Atal Tinkering Labs initiative, some 4,000 mentors and 600,000 mentees will benefit from a unique AI-powered mentor platform. Developed with the IBM Watson Cognitive Engine, the platform monitors mentor and mentee interactions to provide personalized support to those using the platform. Skilling is key. If we want to shape the future, I encourage each of you to skill up. I know the power young minds with the entrepreneurial mindset like you can yield when empowered. The time is now. I wish you all the success. Stay safe, stay motivated. Once again, I want to thank IIHM for inviting me to talk to you. More power to SAHAS. Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. There we go. Okay, so that was more power to Sahas. Without wasting any much time, let's start. Let's call on a first speaker. We've got a power-packed evening today, and let's call Ms Sonica Malhotra Kandhari, JMD MBD Group. She's the heiress to one of India's largest publishing groups, MBD, and a Harvard Business School alumna, running one of India's oldest publishing house with new verticals in luxury and real estate. Ms Sonica Malhotra Kandhari is on top of her game. Trust me, she believes that if you can't justify the spend on a room with the charge you're going to fix, it is a recipe for disaster. She manages everything in a hotel business, from operations to finance to IT. And today, in this session at 4 o'clock, 4:15 p.m., she's here with us live on our career studio to speak to all our students about careers and, of course, about opening up own business. Over to you, Ms Sonica.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. And thank you, Dr. Abdullah, for your kind words of appreciation. I think it's highly motivating for me to carry on with my journey with all the enthusiasm, listening such wonderful words about myself. Thank you very much. And thank you, Dr. Bose. I think it's a great forum to get everybody together and motivate the next generation who's actually going to be the foundation of the future. Well, I think my journey has been from from one end to the other end of the spectrum, has been a lot of learning. Of course, came with a lot of responsibility, because I joined as a second generation entrepreneur into a business which my father developed and built up into a very big scale. So you had to know it all, and yet you need to learn a lot right from the beginning. So it was a lot of nervousness in the beginning, but a lot of excitement as well. And as Dr. Bose said, I really appreciate the initiative of SAHAS. And I feel, nothing can stop anybody if you have the SAHAS and the confidence and the belief in yourself. And what we say at MBD as well is MBD stands for motivation and belief and determination. And that's what actually my father built the entire company on. And he also started with, I'll tell you a story about SAHAS, which I can relate to very well, and I live it every day. He started with a very small seed capital of just 1 lakh rupees, which he borrowed from his father. And he was only 13 years old. And, they say, education, probably it makes sense to be, having studied in Harvard, but he was a Prabhakar in Hindi. And from a 1 lakh seed capital, which is one small bookshop in a small town in Punjab, Jalandhar, he built up the entire company from a small bookshop into one of the largest education companies of India, serving children from nursery to post-graduation in all regional languages, all state boards of the country. Also then diversified into verticals such as hospitality, retail, went international, doing a lot of work on the skills with the government of India and whatnot. And I think it was SAHAS which actually took him ahead. And what he really believed in was that, mistakes are a part of the journey, and it's important to make mistakes. So if everything goes hunky-dory for you, it means your learning is actually stopped. So he failed, he committed mistakes, but I think the best part was he learned, and he emanated those learnings into future course correction. And that course correction is very important. So, and that's something that I think I've also imbibed since the time I joined the company. And the best part was he said, that's the pool for you, and try and learn to swim yourself. Because that was the time we had just about entered the hotel industry. It was an absolutely new vertical. Nobody had a clue. But he said, make your own decisions. And I was wondering that why me, my own decisions so early in my life? And that was because he wanted me to learn from my mistakes and do course correction. And I think that's worked best for me. I think also if I were to probably, apart from the self-confidence, determination, and the motivation, it's also very important that along with this side of your character and personality, to basically be very analytical. It's important as an entrepreneur to have a gut feel about, okay, I think we can do this. But at the end of the day, the competition has become very fierce. The world has changed a lot. You need to get your numbers correct. So hence, that's a formula that I like adopting, at least with my team and in our own organization, is that we come up with a great idea, but it's very important that we actually scientifically analyze it, draw out our future projections, in terms of competition mapping, our strengths, our weaknesses, which is basically like a SWOT analysis, and placing all of that in terms of a projected P&L, and thereby understanding in achieving those numbers, what's the money required to be deployed, when do I get my break evens, what are the kind of negative cash flows coming about, how do I need to manage the cash flows, and then thereby what is the return that I'm getting on the money deployed. I mean, nothing can be done just purely on passion. At the end of the day, if the company is not making money, you're not growing. And it's important that you get your maths correct. So just pure gut feel is not important. Your analyticals and your financials are extremely important. And thirdly, which is the most important aspect in this entire thing, you might have a very great scheme of things, a great business idea, but you can't do it alone. You may be very fantastic, probably a great student, great spark for being an entrepreneur. You have to build a great team or a greater team for yourself. So as an entrepreneur, you could probably have a skill set, maybe, like for instance, I think I have an edge in finance, may not be in marketing, may not be in XYZ divisions. You need to make a team which gets the whole bigger than what you started off with. And it's important to keep the team intact, grow, motivated, so that they feel that your vision is their vision. It cannot be a one-person show. So I think these three things have been quite fundamental in how I've observed my father and our founder in his journey, and also imbibe that to a great extent in my own journey. And I think it's worked well. And we're doing well for ourselves in hotels, and also in the mall management space that we've entered in. We've gone international in terms of commercial office spaces, in education. And I think these three things have been fundamental in my entire journey. So that's what I have to say, Dr. Abdullah. I'll leave if you want to ask any questions. I'm more than happy to answer that.
Thank you so very much, Ms. Malhotra. I was making notes, and I was, some really important points you shared for our students about, the first point was that your father started with a seed capital of 1 lakh, and today it's the biggest publishing house, and you've gone international in malls, in hotels, of course, in publishing, as you said, and he was 13 years old. So at that point in time, he was only 13 years when he started his business. Current students who are watching this are 18 plus, are 19 and 20 years. So I think, that's where the inspiration comes in from. Of course, you talked about the course correction, which is very important. Getting the maths correct is very important, and making a team is very important. I think that was fabulously put in well. Thank you so much, Ms. Malhotra. We will come back to questions. We've got other speakers waiting. Quickly, we will move over to the dawn of the industry, Mr. Rocky Mohan, MD of Mohan Meakin. He's the owner of country's most sought after rum, Old Monk. Well, that name is synonymous, and I think we've been hearing this name right from class 10th, if I'm not wrong. All the boys will be smiling, trust me, when I say this. The brand's reach is such that it has touched every economic strata of society. He's published the famous book, Art of Indian Cuisine, which is considered one of the best Indian cookbooks. His keen interest in cooking comes from his parental roots in Rawalpindi, where traditionally men used to cook. And of course, he is the MD of Mohan Meakin. Over to you, Mr. Rocky Mohan.
Good afternoon, Mr. Abdullah. Thank you for your invitation to be a part of the advisory council here for this great initiative by dear friend and associate Suborno Bose. Dr. Bose is one of the most charming and most motivating men that I've known in the last few years when I've had the opportunity of meeting him on a number of occasions at various fraternity meets and so on and so forth. Well, Dr. Bose, great initiative, heartiest congratulations, and wishing Sahas all the success that it possibly can deserve. You are a very giving leader, and I must say that we all learn from your initiative. So a big thank you to you, and God bless, and may you make all the success happen for the student fraternity that is under you. Now, talking to the fraternity itself, which is the student fraternity, number one, I must congratulate you for having gone through your courses successfully. And I'm sure in this very vast organization of the IIHM, you all must be having a great bond of working together, even in these very difficult times. I belong to an era when we've had another Black Swan event take place in this country, which was the partition of this country, which happened in 1947. I was born just after the partition, and you youngsters are today sitting through the second Black Swan event, which is the COVID-19. And I hope you never have to face another Black Swan event in your lives. But having said that, every downturn in life, throws up opportunities, throws up the ability of man to think differently and to move forward and pivot himself into the occasion. And I give you a small example, very similar to what Ms Malhotra just said. We are first generation businessmen in this country. It was post our migration from Rawalpindi to India that we actually initiated the process of the takeover of the erstwhile Meakin breweries, that subsequently became Meakin Limited. And that was the takeover that took place on a very similar fashion as Ms Malhotra's family did, who started from virtually nothing. Her 1 lakh of rupees, her father's 1 lakh of rupees loan from his father almost coincides with the similar pattern of how my father and grandfather borrowed monies from their respective wives who came from wealthier families to buy this company. We're very fortunate that we've had great support, we've had great opportunity, and we have been loved in this country to create an iconic brand out of Old Monk, which I am very proud that I'm still the custodian of, and I hope to continue to be the custodian of. Opportunities will arise at this moment now. And I think you youngsters must form teams in where you work. In your schooling, in your learning, you must form teams. And those teams should actually evolve to create business elements and thoughts. I don't believe that this is a closing event. This is an opening event. And a positive frame of mind would be very imperative at this stage. And I would much rather give you motivation to think differently and not be closed in your vision. Don't wear blinkers. Open your eyes to a much bigger horizon. You do not have to remain in hospitality. You do not have to remain in management. You do not have to remain in housekeeping. You do not have to remain in any of the disciplines that you've currently learned or had the opportunity to learn. You must evolve. You must think of what are your skill sets. Some of us are very good at consultancy, and that's giving advice. Some of us are very good at photography and putting that together. Some of us are very good in design. Some of us are very good in music. So we can become consultants of sorts, where we impart knowledge to others. Parents today are looking for all kinds of support systems for education. Now, you are fortunate that you have been educated and you'll pass out of a great institute. Put that to bear, bring that to mind. I'm talking very elementary, small stuff. Think big, yes, but everything will grow big over a period of time. But you have to develop the skill set that you have today and put it into practice. Obviously, with small seed capital, I don't expect you to have tons of money. Dr. Bose's money will help you to start your businesses. But believe me, think small at this stage. I promise you, you will be able to launch yourself into a self-sustaining model as you move ahead, because things will evolve as we go ahead. This is a very trying time for the whole country, very trying time, especially for the hospitality industry. And my heart goes out to what's happening in the hospitality industry. And unfortunately, we are not seeing that light at the end of the tunnel. I wish we could find a way of finding that light in the end of the tunnel, which told us, listen, all is going to be well on the 5th of July and things are going to change. It's not going to change. I'm not saying it won't change, but it's not going to change tomorrow morning. It's going to take time. So do think this through. Look at businesses which are small, operational with a small team, which is easily accessible without personal contact. If you can create a team which is on an online basis, work from your respective homes, and continue with online training yourself. Learn to be entrepreneurial in your training, in your own thought pattern. So my advice to all of you is, don't be disappointed in what's happening to you. Be very, very enthused by what's happening, because this is an event which is going to make a lot of changes, and we should see the mighty fall and the small rise. This is going to happen. It's an eventuality. It's the way nature works. It's the way things are. So please be aware of this, be strong, and be confident in what you're capable of doing, and rely on your own strength. So that's my inspiration for all of you, and that would be my advice for you. Thank you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much for sharing these points. I think you summed it up very well, that students need to be confident. They need to be adaptable. I think that's the need of the hour. Whichever business we are, whatever that we are doing, whether we are starting our own business or a startup or currently running our businesses, we need to be adaptive. And I think that's the take of the day. We will come back to you, Mr. Rocky Mohan. Let's move over to another, stalwart of the industry, Mr. A D Singh, MD Olive Group of Restaurants. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. A D Singh made his restaurant business debut in 1990 with just desserts, a jazz cafe that served only coffee and desserts. He launched Olive at Union Park, Bandra in the year 2000. In 2003, Mr. Singh opened Olive Bar and Kitchen in New Delhi, which was announced as one of the best new restaurants in the world by Condé Nast Traveler. Olive won numerous awards and accolades across Mumbai, Delhi, Bengaluru, Goa, Kolkata, and Hyderabad. He also believes in charity and runs a group-wide initiative called Kitchens Against Hunger. And today, he's with us to speak to all our students, especially, and share his insight on the startup that you all plan to do. Over to Mr. A D Singh.
Thank you, Dr. Abdullah. Pleasure to be here with the students. Hi, everybody. To start with, I'd just like to say, Dr. Bose, pleasure to meet you if only digitally and hear you today. Very inspiring. Great to see a panel, a lot of friends, Rocky, Zorawar on it as well. And lovely to see the students. We all hope that our thoughts, our advice will be of some help. Our industry is, of course, very glamorous and very exciting. But let me start, as Rocky did, perhaps with a word of caution. Our industry is also the #1 industry to lose money on your first venture. So as you all are beginning with the money that Dr. Bose has been able to raise, or your parents, friends, and family money, I also strongly urge you to start off with some caution. For your first venture, take a franchise or work in partnership with one of the established players in the game. Learn the game, understand how is the best way for it to be played by you with your strengths, and then go on and chase bigger and wider dreams for yourself. It's not going anywhere. The business will grow year after year. Just be prudent to begin, and you have a long career ahead of you. I know people look at me and so many of us who are sort of the successes of the industry. But let me tell you, in my case, a couple of things. One, I was lucky enough that I started at the right time. It's time when there was really nothing else out there in the standalone business. My whole generation went to five-star hotel coffee shops. And so almost any decent products had a very good chance of success. But this year it'll be 30 years in the business, I would say the #1 thing that I have put in is very hard work. So I do see sometimes I talk to youngsters who are hoping to make it huge overnight. If you do great, more power to you, we're all with you. But be prepared for hard work. That is the backbone of, I'd say, that all the growth that all of us on the panels have put in to get to where we are. What I urge you as students coming off now, I made some notes, so just checking. Firstly, through your college years, you must have seen how the industry's changed, how much is changing in 2020 itself. And now, thankfully, with the internet, you can stay abreast of all that's happening. So firstly, I urge you to look beyond just whatever you're working on, but to follow trends, what's happening, where are opportunities. It'll hold you in very good state today and down the line as well. Specifically today, when you graduate, as you graduate, there are some good new opportunities. I guess number one is everybody's talking about. The delivery business is growing more than exponentially. This is a paradigm moment for it. And post the lockdowns easing, it'll go to levels never seen before. Therefore, all sorts of ancillary industries associated with it should be good opportunities for you to get into in the coming months and years. These could include cloud kitchens, aggregators, delivery facilitators, dark kitchens, cloud kitchens, packaging, technology in associated areas, etc. That's new. Of course, the same businesses that all of us have been in, of opening restaurants, will always continue to be viable and strong. And for you, you'll have the advantage of opening with an understanding of the current circumstances and what has changed. And hopefully that should help you also be very viable. What sort of challenges are you going to face as you come out into the world? You know, college prepares you for life and work, of course, but there is a lot more to learn. Don't be afraid to ask questions. It can only help you. Don't be afraid to challenge yourselves. You're at an early stage in your career. Growth and learning is the most important. Keep an eye on that and pursue that. Very importantly, what I want to say to you, and I have conversations about this with friends and colleagues of all ages through their lives, is what is the role of value and ethics as you go along? I'm sure by now you've heard things like good guys finish last, which seem to be encouraging you to throw away all your values and morals and ethics and do whatever it takes to get ahead. Well, for me and for a lot of businesses, what I look for in people, whether to hire them, to collaborate with them as landlords, any relationship that I'm forming, is number one, what kind of people they are. Will they be people that I can trust and work with for a long time? And in my company particularly, wherever we see honesty, integrity, loyalty, I and my company will bend backwards to look after you and help you to reach your own dreams. On the other hand, you might be the smartest kid, lots of new ideas, bubbling over, etc. But if you don't have honesty and integrity and loyalty to us, we'd rather not continue the relationship. So I urge you today, and remember this in the years to come, values, ethics, morality, they sound like very old-fashioned words, but they're very, very important to, I'd say, all of us on this panel, and will be very, very important for you as you go ahead. I like Sonica's point about teams, and I would like to reiterate that as well. Olive as a company has been known for two things. One, we're a company with a conscience. We care about our people and we care beyond them as well. And I think in a country like ours, that's very, very important as you go along in your journey. And secondly, and I say it repeatedly, we've been built and I've been successful on the back of several very good people. They are the core. It's been sad for me over the years to see so many of the stalwarts in our industry undermining the people below them, not giving them due recognition, wanting it all for themselves. Don't go that way. I strongly urge you to build all the people you're working with, all the people below you. They will be your pillars as you grow. They will help you reach success and the growth and your own dreams. But look after them as well. Make it a win-win for everybody. That's the best way forward. I don't want to take up too much time. We have a great panel here. So let me end there by wishing you all the best. I'm always available as you go along in your journey, and all the best to you.
Thank you so much, Mr. A D Singh. It was absolute pleasure. Trust me, you're very, very sweet. I have said this before, and I don't mind saying it in public. You are a sweetheart. I have spoken to you so many times. You're so humble, and we all love you. We all look up at you, and it's such an honor to have you with us today speaking to IIHM student, Mr. Singh.
My pleasure, Abdullah. Absolutely my pleasure.
Thank you. I was really impressed by a couple of things you said. In fact, you did talk about the aggregators, the new opportunities coming up, about the packaging, the technology that's coming up. One thing which you conveyed is that every student needs to be observant. You need to see what is happening. You need to see how things have changed over the last 2 years and how change is happening. And drastically in 3 months, we've completely changed the way we've been operating. And that is the power of observation that Mr. Singh wants you to look into. Also, what he also talked about challenging yourself, ladies and gentlemen, and about values and ethics. I think values and ethics stand core to any business, stand core to any success. With this, we move over to our next speaker. And once, our next speaker comes in, we'll open the chat box for all our students. In case you have any question for any of the speakers in the chat box, please mention the name of the speaker you wish to ask your question, and you can put on your question onto the chat box, and we will select one question each per speaker as time is short, and we'll try to answer. Without wasting more time, our fan moment, ladies and gentlemen, inviting Mr. Zorawar Kalra, MD Massive Restaurants. Blessed with an entrepreneurial bent of mind and a genetic love for food over the years, Mr. Zorawar Kalra has extensively studied the Indian food and beverage market, counted among one of the youngest and most successful restaurateurs of India. Mr. Kalra has combined a penchant for Indian cuisine with his natural business acumen and a rich heritage, spanning over 4 decades in the Indian culinary space and hospitality industry. He is spearheading massive restaurants that includes Farzi Cafe, Court, Masala Library by Jigs, Kalra, Rivers to Ocean, R2O, Made in Punjab, and Papaya under its wing. He was also a judge in the 5th season of MasterChef India in 2016. Over to you, Mr. Zorawar Kalra.
Thank you, Dr. Abdullah. Good to, for the first time, meet you virtually, Dr. Bose. I'm a big admirer of what you are doing. I think your institution is one of the finest that exist in this land. As you know, that the hospitality industry is extremely critical to India. We contribute over 2% to India's GDP, now nearing 3%. We're also the second highest employer of human capital in India after agriculture. As a result, the people, the rock stars that you guys are producing in your incredible institutions are going to be the next superstars of the country. In fact, I'll give an interesting stat. The food industry is 40 times larger than Bollywood. Indians spend more on eating out than on any other form of entertainment. We're also, we consume the highest percentage of gross disposable income spend. So Indians will wait to buy shoes and clothes, but they will definitely want to eat out at restaurants or hotels multiple times a month. So that all bodes well for the industry. I'm going to focus on entrepreneurship because I think SAHAS as an initiative, which is extremely admirable as to what it's focusing on, is focused on entrepreneurship. I equate an entrepreneur to be a person who jumps off a cliff and builds an aircraft on the way down. There are always 1,000 reasons to not do something and only really one good ever reason to do it. And for an entrepreneur, it's very important to focus on that one reason. I think Sonica said that it's very lonely being an entrepreneur sometimes. And that's correct. You sometimes have no one to confide in. Sometimes you're hard pressed to get advice. And sometimes you're just, in a stage of life where everything seems hopeless. Trust me, all of these things have happened with me. They will happen with you if you get into the entrepreneurship side of things, especially in the restaurant space. As AD said, it's a very glamorous industry. It's an incredible industry, very, very rewarding, but also has the highest failure rate. I don't want to scare you off because my goal here is to motivate you to do more and more. All the future of this industry, the future of Indian food in general depends on your worthy shoulders. So it's very important for you guys to be motivated. However, you guys should also be aware of the pitfalls. Typically, restaurant industry is fraught with failure, a very high mortality rate. 90% of all restaurants shut down within the first year and 96% within 18 months. And the biggest reason for the failure is usually undercapitalization and for people getting into it for the wrong reasons. A restaurant should never be an extension of your drawing room. It should never be a means to get married. It should never be, a way to show off or entertain people. It always you have to get into the restaurant business in a positive way. You have to think about it as a career opportunity. It's not a job; it's a career. You have to think of it as something that you're deeply passionate about. There is no 9 to 5 in restaurants. It's extremely hard work. Nobody changed the world by working 40 hours a week. You change the world only by working at least double that. I think it's very, very important for all you guys to also understand that this is a unique time. You guys deserve double the accolade for graduating in these tough times. This is a pandemic of global proportions, of epic proportions, and even though the celebrations of your graduation might feel muted, the achievement is definitely not. The achievement is huge. It's magnanimous, and you guys should all be very, very proud of it. You guys are having a trial by fire. By getting out of this tough time, you'll come out into a space, into a brave new world. You'll be braver, you'll be more courageous because you've already been through the toughest times. There's a saying that if you can survive in New York, you can survive in any part of the world. Let me tell you, if you can survive this time, you can survive forever. So I think all you guys should feel deeply satisfied, very proud of yourselves for going through these tough times. I know it's very hard to focus. I know sometimes you guys feel that job opportunities are going to be less. In the short term, that might be the case. I think for a few months, maybe till December, maybe till March. We're hoping even before that, things will turn around. You guys will have ample opportunities. You see, restaurants are the final bastion of offline human engagement. Everything can go offline. Movies can go offline. You can buy things offline. You can do everything offline, but you can never recreate a restaurant or bar experience offline. Humans are social at their very core. We are social at a DNA level. We love to go out and engage. Restaurants are not just places for having a meal or a drink. They're places where we celebrate the great milestones of life. They are places where we celebrate our lives' most important events. They always have been important to our existence as human beings, and I can assure you that they will forever, ever be an integral aspect of our being. That being said, initially, for the next few months, it's tough. So if you guys are planning to come out now and immediately jump into the business side of things, I would urge you to err on the side of caution. I would urge you to be wary, be almost risk averse. It's very important to kind of be a little meek at this time, not be gung-ho. I've always been a very aggressive entrepreneur. I started massive in 2013, and in about 7 years, we're in 7 countries with 35 restaurants, and we've grown fairly quickly. But I think if I were to come out now, and if I had started massive in 2020, I would have probably grown at 1/3 the pace. It's very important to do things at the right time. And the outside business world, the outside dynamic kind of steers your business process as well. So it's very important for you guys to be careful. If you're thinking of starting your business and this initiative, this incredible initiative, and this incredible seed capital that's being provided to you by the IIHM Incredible Sahas Fund, should be not a means to jump in and take risks. Be very careful. As Sonica said, it's not just about the gut instinct. It's also about the math. The finances have to make sense. Start small. Don't be afraid of starting small. Every big company, every person on this panel right now started off with nothing. They didn't even have a fantastic fund like SAHAS that you guys have. So you guys already have a leg up. All of us started with our own money, or with borrowed money, or with money taken from friends and family. And it's a very big risk. And we all started in times that were much better than you guys are in. So you guys are a little bit unlucky in the sense that if you're trying to enter the entrepreneurship side of things for the restauranting business, this is not the opportune time. So be careful. Make sure that your plans are well laid out. Make sure your unit economics are extremely well thought out. Go slow. Choose only 1000% sure shot locations. I always used to tell people that only take a location unless you're 1000% sure that you cannot lose money. Sometimes even I myself have not followed my own advice. So the few restaurants that have not performed perhaps as well for me are the ones where I was not 1000% sure of the location, but my need to grow, my need to expand still pushed me to sign that location. So don't make that mistake. Right now, in this day and age, I hate to say this, there are no good locations, at least till the end of the year. So be very careful. If you're going to graduate right now, find opportunities in the right companies, try and find internships, work with the right companies, right people. Integrity and ethics, as AD said, are absolutely critical. The more you show that, the more you will get involved in a business, the more you'll be appreciated by your peers and your employers, the more you'll grow as an individual, and the more you're likely to build a big company. I remember when I started my MBA in Boston, the very first class that they ever taught us was ethics. And I was a 23 and a half year old guy who had just left from India. And I always thought, why are they teaching me ethics? Isn't this natural? Or should this not be natural to all of us? But then as I learned the class, I realized how important it is to build integrity and ethics into a young person's psyche at a very young age. Because only if that happens, will you go ahead and maintain those values and that culture in your working life and in your career. So make sure that you guys are careful, make sure you guys are focusing on the right things in life. Do not be in a hurry. Your time will come. You guys will prevail. You guys will achieve big things. You're already coming out of the toughest of times. This advisory panel is here for your support. We are here to be by your side, to mentor you as much as we can, to give you great opportunities. But be an entrepreneur. We want entrepreneurs to go out there, but this is a tough time to be an entrepreneur. However, do not let that water down your feelings. Do not let that rain on your parade. Make sure that you stick to your guns, stick to a concept, but be careful. And we're all with you, wishing you all the very best. And I hope that you guys have a fabulous, fabulous graduation, a fabulous, fabulous career ahead.
Thank you so much, Mr. Zorawar Kalra. It was an absolute pleasure to listen to you today, and we've got some questions coming in as well. We will take the questions after the next speaker who's coming in. Just to remind all the students, the chat box is open, guys. If you have any questions, please put in there. We've got some questions coming in, and I'm sure the favorite is Ms Sonica Malhotra. A couple of questions coming for you, and we will get back to you with the questions. And before that, I'd like to call upon Mr. Kush Kapoor, CEO, Roseate Hotels and Resorts. He started his career with a Trident in Udaipur. With over 17 years of experience in the hospitality industry, he has covered the most iconic hotels across India, including the Taj Group of Hotels and the Leela Group, and has many laurels to his feet. He's been awarded with the Innovative Hotelier of the Year Award, Year India 2010 Award by Hotelier India. Other awards include Benchmarking in Hospitality, Luxury Hotels in India Award by SATE 2009, 5-Star Diamond Award by American Academy of Hospitality Sciences for 2009, 2010, and many, many more. His hotel, Roseate House and Resorts, became the first hotel during COVID-19 to take the guests straight into the kitchen through their mobile phones in the CCTV, and that is what he's known for. Always outdoing, outthinking, doing something always new and something fresh. Over to you, Mr. Kush Kapoor.
Thank you, Abdullah. And let me first of all thank Dr. Bose and Abdullah for a fantastic initiative which you guys have taken, which is also happening at this time. And when you talk about SAHAS, I would say this is one of the initiatives which has come out when everybody is lying at the low levels on that side. I always take it as, for me, the challenge are the opportunities rather than we talk about challenges as something which we should bog down with. For me, which I always talk about, and I always keep telling my employees and my team members also, if you've not faced a challenge, that means you're not doing something right, or you've not tried anything new also in your life. at Roseate Hotels and Resorts, we have a motto and a tagline which says never leave. And till date, even in this difficult times, we've never let even a single employee leave from our organization. We've held everybody together right now. And for me, what I also tell my team members right now also, you know, when you're lying at the lowest level, that's the best time for you to grow, because you cannot go below that. You can only move up from there. I'll take a couple of examples just to probably put it across to the students, because I would say 2 decades back, I also was where the young students are there in today's time. I started my career with the Oberoi's group. I was a room boy. Then I moved to another hotel, Manor Hotel. I was a steward, F&B steward. I had to leave a job out there, and I actually moved into a matrimonial company after graduating from the hotel management school. And I did the job for about 4 months. Trust me, guys, it was full of fun, because I was getting the gentlemen and the ladies come together, meet each other, collecting the money from them. That was one of the things, because I did it because I didn't have a job, right? So this is, as all my fellow colleagues have also mentioned, be as flexible as you can. Don't just get stuck if you are kind of not getting the support you want to. Whatever you're getting, grab it right now, get the experience, be like a sponge at this point of time. That's extremely important for all of us. The more I grasp, the better it is. And when the time comes, of course, you're all are going to move out from there. Now, I'll take a couple of examples. Probably, as I mentioned, matrimonial company was one which I did when I didn't have a job in the early ages of my life, where we all stand right now also. There are jobs in the hospitals. There are jobs, there will eventually jobs will, we've already started recruiting the new recruits right now, because both of our hotels in Delhi are pretty much on. So we've started getting the employees back in place already. There will be jobs in banks, airlines, tons of industries will be there. Now, we all know Indians are the second largest travelers in the world. We also know, and we keep hearing, a lot of students go for the event management companies, for the ODCs, right? Just to let everybody know, India is the second largest market in the entire world in terms of weddings. We do about 1 crore weddings in India per year, which is approximately 50,000 crore rupees of business, which means if the students actually want to get into this business, for the last 3 months, there are absolutely no weddings happen in India, right? Which does not mean that the weddings are not going to happen. All the weddings which are on hold right now are all going to happen the moment the lockdown gets over. So you can understand the amount of business which will actually pour in for all you young people out there who wants to grab it out there at any point of time you want. And I'm going to take a couple of examples also. Everybody has heard of Nelson Mandela, right? He was in jail for 27 years. And after 27 years being in jail, he became the president of South Africa. Jack Ma, we all have heard of Alibaba, right? He was rejected only 30 times by Harvard University. And they didn't took him when he wanted to get into the Harvard University. And in today's time, he's one of the richest man in China. For first 3 years, when he opened up his business, there was zero revenue. He didn't let it go, right? Thomas Edison, who's invented the bulb, failed, if I have to use that word, 1,000 times before he actually got the success. So for me, it's a very simple logic. There is absolutely no shame in what you're doing, where you're doing, till the time you can learn from wherever, whatever, and from whoever you can learn. Today, everything is on our phone, is on our palm. So there's so much of learning I can actually do if I really want to utilize the technology, which is right in my hand, at my disposal at any point of time. I also have been talking about a diamond, if you all know that, does not come out till the time it doesn't get under tremendous amount of pressure. So for me, this is the time. For me, I'll sum up this thing very quickly. We all need to be passionate of what we are doing, what we love. We need to be extremely hungry what we want as a goal or aim in life. And we need to be extremely innovative. Guys, whatever you guys are planning to do right now, trust me, there are tons of people who might be thinking on the same. So if you've taken one step today, you need to take 2 steps tomorrow. And that's the only way to move forward right now. On the positive, on the other side, people who have money, there are tons of hotels, restaurants, motels, and startups which are on the block for sale. So if you got money, this is the right time for you to grab that business. In this COVID time, like my dear friend Abdullah also mentioned, we were the first hotel in India to give you a live access through your cameras into our kitchens, which has never happened in India till date. We were the first one to introduce laundry service. We also have started the food delivery, which has been on for last 3 months. And these things, we've never done that. We only were able to do when we actually were forced to look out for more and better opportunities. Couple of things I would say, just to give you an example, probably, when we talk about the life is tough and you have to do a lot of struggles, as my fellow panelists were saying, you guys are extremely lucky that you are actually graduating from one of the best institutes in India and abroad, I would say. Considering myself, I took only 20 years to get my graduation done. I struggled for 20 years, if I have to put it across in that manner. I was a graduate when I became 41 years old, and I'm 44 right now. I became first-time general manager when I was only a diploma holder. I was not even a graduate. So all I'm trying to explain to my students is there is absolutely nothing which can stop you if your mind, your focus, and your entire energy is at one spot. Thank you, Abdullah.
All right, Mr. Kush Kapoor, all power to you for sharing all that information. And I think what I loved and about the conversation is a real silver lining for all of us, where he said that Rosyet Hotels and Resorts has started hiring because they are into business and they're rolling ahead with rooms. So that's a good thing to share this evening. And of course, you talked about 1 crore weddings. I'm sure all of you have seen this movie, Band Baja Barat. I always talk about it. And I always say I'm not promoting the movie, but all I'm promoting is entrepreneurship, that you can get into event management and take that pie of the event management that you can do out of the 1 crore weddings that are pending and they are to happen. And I think you talked about Jack Ma, and of course, all the examples that you gave. Superb. And time short, Mr. Kapoor, so we'll quickly go on to the questions. And we've got the first question coming in is from Shubhangi, IIHM student who is 2020 pass out. And the question is to Ms Sonica Malhotra. The question is, was it difficult to find the right team members for your organization, ma'am? That's a question. Over to you, Sonica, ma'am.
Yeah, hi Shubhangi. I think that's a wonderful question. When I said team, I think it's one of the toughest variable to actually be able to fulfill. To get the best team to work for an organization requires a lot of fundamental things that you need to work upon. So apart from the fact that everybody wants career growth and success, both monetary as well as in terms of the kind of portfolio they're handling, they want to work with an organization which has been able to build up respect, both in terms of the guest or the customers that they're dealing with, but also respect in terms of the kind of work environment that you're able to make for your employees. We at MBD believe that we don't make organization, but we make families. We are there for them for thick and thin, and you have to stand by ethics and principles as a leader of an organization or as an entrepreneur. And if you're not able to do that, and you're not able to respect your employees, believe you me, even if you're able to attract them with great pay packages and not be able to give them respect, they will probably leave you in about 6 months' time. So I think the organization first to attract great talent needs to have a mixture of, as I said, of course, career growth and good pay package, but more than anything else, a sense of mutual respect and a great work environment that is important to be created to be able to attract great team and talent. So that's what it is. And if you're able to provide that, believe you me, even if you're not the largest in a particular segment, you will get best talent. And we've been able to get that, thankfully, by abiding by those fundamental key areas that you need to work upon.
Super. Thank you so much, Ms. Malhotra. We've got more questions coming up. We'll quickly go to other speakers as well. We've got this, I like this question coming from Vidhi, and that's for Mr. Rocky Mohan. And Vidhi is asking, if a plan fails or won't go as per plan, how to deal with it and what should be the backup? Is it the right time for startup during this crisis? Over to you, Mr. Mohan.
Right. So as rightly summarized both by AD as well as Zorawar very correctly, that failure is built, is actually the basis of all success in life. you cannot be successful at something without having failure meet you. And two very key points, again, I'll refer to what AD and Zorawar have said, is that, number one, be fully and well capitalized, which is what Zorawar said, that undercapitalization will kill your business. So you need to be sure that you have capitalized it correctly if it is a capital intensive business. If it's not, but is a knowledge-based business, then you must have adequate knowledge and you must be able to bring talent to impart that knowledge. And again, going back to the other factor, is that teams are built on the basis of failure, not on the basis of success. So, you will always find people fall by the wayside when you are creating a team. And as Sonica rightly said, that she's been very fortunate to find good teams, is because the core strength of the organization is in that. So I will draw from all the features as given by our panelists, and look at the wide variety of things that Mr. Kapoor has gone and done. So these are all failures. Probably it was failure that made him move from one industry to the next, to the next, to the next. And then ultimately today, he heads up a good chain of hotels, which are really iconic in Delhi and elsewhere. So that's about my answer about that.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mohan. We've got more questions coming in. Quickly, I'll take, for each speaker, I'll try to take the questions. Coming up is by Ishita Kakkar for Mr. Zorawar Kalra. Sir, according to you, what are the chances of employment and entrepreneurship opportunities outside India, considering the COVID-19 situation? Ishita for Mr. Zorawar Kalra. Over to you, Mr. Kalra.
Hi, Ishika. Very, very good question. Currently the whole world is undergoing the same thing. We have restaurants in other parts of the world as well. We've opened up some of them in the Middle East, in Dubai and in Qatar, and we have opened some of them in India. The situation at this point in time is a little tough. I got a call yesterday from a very big hotel chain, the Marriott chain, and we have a restaurant, Masala Library by Ms Kalra, in the JW Marriott Marquis in Dubai, which is the world's tallest hotel. And I got a call yesterday, very good, friendly call, where we have a great relationship with them. And they were a little concerned. Some of the international opportunities might look rosy at the moment, but you'll be surprised to see that a lot of the restaurants in that hotel has some of the finest restaurants in the Middle East. Out of 14 restaurants, they've only opened the coffee shop and one other steakhouse. Every other restaurant is shut. Occupancy still remains low. So the good thing is, the silver lining in this is that they expect this low occupancy and low tourism to only exist till October and November. And they expect from November mid onwards, things to improve significantly. At this point in time, I would really urge you, Ishika, to look at finding yourself. Do not compromise on the opportunities. You might get some diluted opportunities. And in your sense of urgency to kickstart your career, you might take some calls that perhaps in the long run might not be beneficial for you. I would urge you to seek the mentorship of the incredible faculty support systems that I'm sure the IIHM have, to seek the support of your friends and family, to seek the blessings of your parents, but don't be in a hurry. There are opportunities, and there will be opportunities again coming very soon. Trust me, the beginning of the next calendar year will yield a new horizon. You'll have far better opportunities, but at this specific time, and I'm talking mainly about till the end of this year, be careful, choose wisely, don't be in a hurry to go overseas. The situation is just as bad. A lot of our staff is being sent back to India from Dubai because the restaurants are not opening. And if the restaurants are not opening, naturally it's very difficult for even the biggest companies to continue to pay people. So it's an unfortunate situation, but the good thing is that it's short-lived. You will bounce back, but just be careful about your decisions and seek the advice of the people that are there to support you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kalra. Loads of questions coming in, but unfortunately, we can take one question each due to the time. This question goes to Mr. A D Singh, and the question is asked by Aman Kumar. Mr. Singh, the question is, sir, due to pandemic, people are not trusting food served or delivered from outside. How can we gain that trust as a hotel or restaurant or as a new startup? Over to you, Mr. Singh.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. That is the difficulty for consumers, for us restaurateurs as well, to rebuild people's trust. What has been good for the Olive Group is that we built up a level of credibility and trust over many, many years. For a startup, of course, it is new. So what I would say is that number one, put all the steps in place to keep your people and your customers safe. From screening, sanitization, hygiene steps, use of technology, everything you can do to keep your people and customers safe, put that in place first. Two, that must be followed digitally 110%. And then three, very importantly, communicate it out to your potential customer. The more he sees it, he sees the detail of it, that's the only thing that will give them comfort at this time to come to you and help you through this phase.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Singh, for answering this question. Quickly, I'll go to the second last question, and that's for Mr. Kush Kapoor. Interesting question, I would say, and ask, when Roseate is giving takeaways and I'm making minimum revenues, how are you managing to cover the expenses of the hotel? Mr. Kapoor, over to you. Interesting.
Yeah, so I'll take it. When the pandemic obviously struck and all the hotels were closed, when the government was looking out for the hotels, including the luxury hotels who were ready to take the quarantine passengers who were moving back to the country from the Air India flights, we were very keen to get into the list. And that's why we approached the government and we accepted that, yes, we are ready to take back the passengers who are coming and they're staying in the hotel for at least minimum 7 nights. So earlier it was 14 nights and now it's reduced to 7 nights. So the revenues was always there. It was your choice whether you want to be flexible and get the revenues moving in and support your team, or you just close the hotel and just wait for the pandemic to get over. So yes, as I said earlier also in my conversation, be flexible. And that's what we did in the very initial stages. And we took the business, whatever was coming. And that actually is helping us to sail through during the most difficult times till now also.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kapoor. And the last question for the day goes to Dr. Bose. The question is by Sahil Azim. And of course, he asks, will SAHAS as an entrepreneurship cell help us if I make my team from outside hotel industry or outside IIHM? Dr. Bose, over to you. This question is from Sahil.
Could you just repeat once again?
Surely. So Sahil asked this question, Dr. Bose, will SAHAS help us if I make my team outside the hotel industry or outside IIHM? Sahil.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Absolutely. By all means. Yes, absolutely. Initially, we are concentrating on our students, the present student, and then we'll move to the past students as well. But then we are absolutely open to any team that they want to create, and teams are so important, as we all know now. And so absolutely, the answer is a resounding yes, absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Bose. Ladies and gentlemen, time's short and is really running fast. So we need to end this. And for the closing remarks, I will take it back to Calcutta headquarters where our chairman CEO, Dr. Bose, is seated. And over to you, sir, for the closing remarks.
I think it was an amazing 1 hour, 20 minutes. And we all learned so much from all our panelists, and we are going to make it big. And again, as all the panelists say, it's not just the idea, but it's actually doing it realistically, keeping the present circumstances, situation in mind is what is the key. And I think that is a huge learning for all of us. And I would like to thank everybody. Needless to say that it can only become successful. The SAHAS can only become successful only if we get kind of support which we are getting from all our friends from the industry who are actually all very busy people, but possibly right now they're a little less busy, and that's the advantage we're trying to take from them and trying to get all the wisdom. I'm sure that we can count on your advice, guidance, mentorship, and your blessings to make SAHAS one of the first hospitality-centric entrepreneurship program that the country has seen to the extent we are seeing. And we promise to all our students, to all our faculty, to all the advisory member that SAHAS is something which we are madly committed to. So this is something which will happen, and we will do it, and will live up to our tagline of Dare to Do. So that's all from me, Abdullah. Thank you so much for being with me.
Thank you so much, Dr. Bose. In the end, before we sign up and sign off, ladies and gentlemen, to all the students, please send all your proposals to Anju ma'am. We will be sitting one-to-one with all the students tomorrow, analyzing and identifying your plans, and we will share the future course in action. We've already got 4 proposals from the current 2020 batch. I'm so excited to hear some amazing ideas that are coming in. Trust me, I wish I was in your shoes to start this session and start SAHAS. And we will get back to our panelists and share with them the sessions that have come, and of course the plans that have come from students. We will connect again soon. Thank you so much, everybody, for logging in. Thank you so much to all our speakers today who took out time and logged in, for our lovely students who are there, joined in and asking questions. Unfortunately, we can't take more questions at this point in time, but we will keep connected. Thank you so much. Enjoy your weekend. Have a great day, guys. Thank you for logging in. And that's me, Abdullah Ahmed, logging out from IIHM Career Studio, and we will connect soon. Thank you, everybody. Absolute pleasure to speak to you today. Thank you. Bye-bye, everybody.